All right, here we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com. You know the deal. www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app for Android, iPhone, everything Galactic. Go to the app. They will bring it to you pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop, or stop down in Dayton, Kentucky. Tell them to pump it up, and you will save 15% off of your order. All right, Aaron. Pretty calm Sunday in Bearcat land. I think we might have some stuff going on tomorrow, but we'll see. We'll see what tomorrow brings. Should have a good BBP tomorrow night. Fun guest, informational guest to get you caught up on all things UC football as they go through the summer program. Might have a little surprise for you Tuesday. Ooh, it's gonna be a big week. I'm excited. You got to come big that week before 4th of July because everybody kind of checks out for a couple days. So we got.
Man, I really thought you were going to say because maybe I'm a firework.
Oh boy. So we're gonna have a little fun tonight. There's not a lot of serious stuff to talk about, so we're gonna have a little fun. This is a topic I touched on briefly for a segment on radio last week. But there's a more UC specific angle to discuss, and that is the top 25 college basketball players over the past 25 years. We don't have to worry ourselves too much with the bottom of the list, but 1, Kevin Durant, 2, Anthony Davis, 3, Zion. I don't fully agree with that one. 4, Jay Williams, 5, Steph Curry, 6, Tyler Hansborough, 7, JJ Redick, 8, Carmelo Anthony, 9, Kenyon Martin, 10, Trae Young, 11, Michael Beasley. And Aaron, I don't have a terrible beef with much of this list. I think Carmelo should probably be in the top 5 for how good that season was, and that season resulted in a championship.
And the fact that it took Carmelo to be the only player that could get Jim Boeheim a title. No one else could do it.
In 70 years of coaching, Carmelo was the only
one that did it.
I think I would, and I'm a huge, especially back, Kevin Durant was in Greg Oden's class. So Greg Oden kind of got all the shine coming into college basketball, but I had seen Durant as a prospect and freaking was infatuated with how good I thought he could be. So I was driving the Kevin Durant bus back those days. But I think I'd take Anthony Davis if we're talking 1 year in college. Anthony Davis did everything. And
Durant was out. Yeah, Durant was out after didn't make it to the second weekend.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at the top. But the question here is number 9 the right spot for Kenyon Martin? And I would say, yeah, I'm okay with Kenyon Martin at number 9. I don't have much of a problem with it.
So I'm going to bring up a point here, and I only bring it up because in what they said about Kenyon Martin, here's what they say, and I'll share this again just so you can read along with me if you like. But he did win, Kenyon Martin, 11 points per game, 7.5 rebounds per game, 2.5 blocks per game. We remember the blocks, my goodness. Wooden Award winner in 2000, first team AP All-American in 2000, NABC Defensive Player of the Year in 2000, Conference USA Defensive Player of the Year in 98, 99, and 2000, All-Conference USA first team in 99 and 2000. And they went on to say the 99-2000 Cincinnati team will always be one of men's college basketball's biggest what-if cases.
Sure.
Don't we know? Because Martin suffered a season-ending leg injury before the NCAA tournament. Outside of that, his senior season was remarkable. 18.9 points per game, 9.7 rebounds per game, 3.5 blocks per game, and proof that he is one of the best two-way college players of the last quarter century.
Of all time. One of the best two-way players of all time.
I would agree there as well. Now, my issue here is they are highlighting the fact that in his senior season, he had 18.9 points per game, 9.7 rebounds per game, and 3.5 blocks per game. And that is where they're making their argument that he elevated his game to put himself into the top 10. Sure. So one season made him, based on those statistics, made him one of the top 10. I guess my issue here is looking back through the top 10 and looking at players who had one season to make the top 10. You had Kevin Durant. Let me make my point here. I understand where you're going to go with this, but I do want to say in one season, and things could have changed based on the rest of the conference, based on who else they played that year, based on other teammates, et cetera, et cetera. Granted, they were freshmen doing this, not seniors. I understand that. But Kevin Durant, one season. Anthony Davis, one season. Zion Williamson, one season. Jay Williams, multiple seasons. Steph Curry, multiple seasons. Tyler Hansborough, multiple seasons. JJ Redick, multiple seasons. Carmelo, one season. My issue here is simply, I think you did have, there are a couple people on that list, and you brought up a name already, Zion Williamson, who I think was a flash in the pan. And clearly, looking at what he's doing in the NBA, I think he may have been a bit of a flash in the pan.
I don't think Zion was a flash in the pan. I just think there's no way there was anybody in college that could have guarded that dude. Like, he just
not without hand checking what you could do back in the day when Kenyon Martin was playing.
Look how much bigger that dude was than ever.
Correct, because you don't have the center position playing the same way that the center position was played. He was in that weird kind of in between transition period. I mean,
Zion was just 3 years ago?
I don't know. I think the game has clearly evolved, and Zion was there.
2019, 4 years ago.
18, 19.
Yeah, his one season was 2018, 19.
The year his shoe blew out.
Yeah. Here's what I would say would be the argument that goes against what you're saying. It took Kenyon Martin 3 years to build up to be the guy that most of these guys were their freshman year. Like, look at the numbers for the freshman guys.
Yeah,
Durant 1 year.
You're not going to catch me.
5.8 points a game, 11.1 rebounds.
Durant was an alien.
2 steals. Yeah. Anthony Davis was also an alien. 14.2 points per game, 10.4 rebounds. Kenyon's senior year, he had 3.5 blocks, and it felt like he blocked every shot that was taken. Anthony Davis had a full.
I'm not arguing for Kenyon to be
blocks.
Number one. I don't want that to be misconstrued.
No. I'm just saying the argument for the freshman guys not being on there because they only played 1 year, I think in a list like this takes a hit because it took Kenyon. If Kenyon if his junior year, he averaged 18 points and 7 rebounds a game, I think we'd be having a different conversation. But it took until that last year for the light to fully go off. Now, he was a great defensive player until then, before then, but offensively, it didn't hit for him until he was a senior.
I'm not sure that Zion Williamson would have played a full season his entire. I'm not sure he'll play a full season his entire career. Anyway,
he probably won't because he's
didn't
giant human that just happens to be like a freak athlete, which means your feet, your knees, your back, like all of them are going to fall apart.
I also don't think he takes care of his body very well.
Probably not.
But
I mean, his hips are
that's neither here nor there.
His hips are probably in good shape.
I'm not touching that. In any case, especially after this past 2 weeks for that dude, my God. In any case, you cannot convince me he's a top 3 player in the last 25 years anywhere.
No, I think
I'm not sure
I would have Zion. I'd have him in the top 10. But I'd have him probably like 7, 8.
There are 3 dudes from Duke on this list, and I'm not sure he is 1 or 2.
I would have him behind Jay and JJ. For sure.
So
for sure.
that's my point here. And
I don't think I'd have him above Ken. I don't think I'd have Kenyon above Zion.
Of course, I'm a little biased here.
Yeah, I'd have him close. Like it would be within the same range of 2 or 3. But
if Zion had come up in the time where guys stayed in college for 3 years, 4 years, I don't think that he's on the top 10 list. That's my issue here. It was a different time.
But he stayed healthy for the 1 year. Like, so you can't you can't fault him for not being healthy in college because he didn't really get hurt in college.
Yes, he did. He was out. He missed 4 games, 5 games. I mean,
he was out 2 weeks. Like that's
still.
I don't consider that being injured. Consider that you got hurt.
You play what?
You're fat and you rolled an ankle.
You play 30 games and you miss a 6th of the season?
Yeah, but it's not.
That's a 6th of the season.
It's not like when he was in the NBA and he's missing 2/3 of the season.
Right.
Like that's different. That's different. And Nike didn't have a shoe that was built for fat. What can you do?
Well, they still don't. Otherwise, maybe anyway. Steph making the list. Obviously, he did some crazy things at Davidson.
He was generational what he did at Davidson.
But I don't know that he did. No one really knew who he was until his senior year when he made noise in the tournament.
For his career, Aaron, he averaged 25 points a game.
I understand.
25 points a game for his career.
Playing for Davidson.
Okay. Well, who are all the other guys that average 25 points a game for Davidson?
Who were all the other guys playing in the Southern Conference?
Because they thought he wasn't good enough. He was like, there's Virginia Tech. His dad went to Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech had him on a platter to come play for Virginia Tech, and Seth Greenberg, in his infinite wisdom, said he's not big enough for me. Oops. Now I would have been fascinated to see where his body was at that point in time, see him in the ACC. Because I still think he would have done it. He would have still put up 20 a game.
I would have been fascinated to see if Steph Curry puts up 20 a game if he had come up when Del Curry came up in the league and no one was shooting threes at the unprecedented clip at which we now shoot threes because, God forbid, anybody actually dunked the damn ball.
If you make them at the clip that Steph makes them, he would have shot a lot.
Reggie Miller was making them in a crazy clip, and he didn't shoot the amount of threes that Ray Allen was making threes at a crazy clip, and he wasn't shooting threes at the rate at which they're now shot. I mean, he had the record until Steph took the record by shooting like 100 more threes per season more than anybody else.
Because he makes it like you can't hold it against him if they go in.
I hate the new NBA anyway. You
hate everything.
That's not entirely true, but I'm an old head. I'm a traditionalist. I love the old NBA. I like when I grew up watching the NBA. Anyway, Tyler Hansbrough, that was a dog.
Yes.
There are intangibles.
I'm not putting Kenyon ahead of Tyler Hansbrough.
There are intangibles that put you on this list because he only averaged 20.2 only, I know. And 8.6. But he was a dog.
4 years.
But he was a dog in every the bloody nose game or eye or whatever it was. I mean, just
nose. They broke his face.
Just bleeding everywhere, still playing through it like he was a hockey player or something.
Aaron, great note in the article. First, second, or third AP, like All-American, first, second, or third team every year.
Yeah. Again,
there wasn't a single year of his career he was not an All-American.
You will not and I think 6 is a disservice to Tyler Hansbrough. All things being honest.
I put him ahead of Zion.
Yes.
But I don't know who else I would put him ahead of.
Steph. Doing what he did in the ACC is different than doing what Steph did in the Southern Conference.
Okay.
NBA accolades aside.
I would listen to the argument for Tyler Hansborough over Steph. I would entertain it.
But Jay Williams was generational at Duke, doing what he did at Duke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And without, like, who knows, like, how different we consider Jay Williams without the accident.
Sure. Absolutely. I mean, if he actually does have an NBA career.
Like a 15-year NBA career, he wins a title somewhere. Like, yeah. So I think we forget, like, we think now of Jay Williams as a former ESPN morning show host.
Jay Williams was Kyrie before there was Kyrie.
Way better than Kyrie.
I'm just saying, like, skill set could do everything.
Yeah. Yeah. He was a better Kyrie.
Correct. And Kyrie, that's not a knock on Kyrie.
Yeah, I'm not saying it to knock Kyrie. Jay Williams is a better Kyrie. So JJ, look, man. JJ is one of the dudes that changed the game via the 3-ball.
What if you watched the NBA draft when she said that he was a mediocre shooter? How did he? One of the other hosts called him an average shooter. I don't know how he didn't explode.
Bitch, I'm the best shooter in the history of college basketball. Back up.
I don't know how his head didn't explode.
And he's outstanding as an analyst. And I love that he doesn't back down from the hot take buffoonery.
Well, because he's working with the hot take buffoon.
I know, but you have to be like, there are a lot of guys that do that don't have the nuts to go, you're an idiot. But he does it to Stephen A, and Stephen A is the GOAT of all this.
He is Duke's all-time leading scorer.
Yeah, that counts for something.
2,769 points, and there's been some dudes who've come through Duke.
A couple, and a lot of them that stayed for a long time. Like, Duke wasn't one and done until like 6, 7. Duke wasn't one and done until Anthony Davis said you have to be one and done.
Well, Anthony Davis didn't go to Duke.
No, Duke was resisting the one and done era. They were saying we're not.
Coach K was, sure. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's Duke.
Yeah.
And then Anthony Davis wins the title.
How long was Grant Hill there?
At least 3.
3? Yeah.
At least 3. I think it might have been 4, but at least 3. But then that was when Coach K really had to start like shifting the mindset of we don't recruit one and done guys.
I'd also put
the path to a title at that point.
I'd also put Carmelo Anthony above Zion Williamson.
I would too. Carmelo's top 4, maybe top 3 for me.
In my head, Zion is 9, and I've got
Kenyon up to 8.
At least. I'm still not putting anything in Steph Curry at Southern. I don't care what he's done in the NBA. He was at Southern. You don't get, well, I'm saying the conference, the Southern Conference. You don't get the accolades when you go to that school of.
But doesn't the reality that he has become the greatest shooter in the history of the entire sport of basketball?
Sure, you did that in the NBA. That has nothing to do with your collegiate career.
But it's not his fault that the ACC missed. That's not his fault.
Don't give him the college roses if he doesn't deserve them.
He does deserve them. That's what it's not his fault that the ACC didn't go on him. That's not his fault. All he can do then is go to Davidson, who wanted him, and scored 25 points a game for 4 years.
It's not the other guy's fault on this list that they went to actual conferences where you actually played other people who could defend you instead of your garbage conference.
Steph didn't get to make that choice.
These guys didn't get to make that choice either. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. Put him at 8. Put him at 8.
You suck. So you got Kenyon at 7.
I got Kenyon. I'll put Kenyon at 7, and I'm actually bumping Zion's 9. He's terrible. I'm actually gonna bump. I think I'm gonna bump Carmelo Anthony to 3. I think I'm gonna put him.
I don't have an issue with that.
Over Jay Williams.
I would go Anthony Davis, Durant, Carmelo, Jay Williams, Hansborough, then Curry, then Redick. And I'll listen to an argument for JJ over Steph in college because of what JJ did at Duke. Then Kenyon, then Zion.
But I'm putting Tyler Hansborough in my top 5 too.
Yeah, I mean, he was so good in college. Like he just was a beast every year.
When you looked at him, you didn't see a guy who could do what he did. It didn't make sense.
And UC has a coach that's only mission every summer is to beat him in golf.
I don't hate that either.
I'll tell that story this week. We'll see you tomorrow night. Busy stuff tomorrow. That's the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!